Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're diving into what's been unfolding across the broader crypto landscape with a particular focus on Monad. Over the past week, the overall market has been making its way back into a bullish direction, showing clear signs of strength after a period of uncertainty. Even though we saw a brief dip, especially over the weekend, the general momentum has been upward. In this video, we'll unpack everything, from market conditions to Arthur Hayes' commentary to the sudden shift in Monad's token price, its rising TVL, and what all of this might indicate going forward. This will be a detailed and honest breakdown, so stay tuned to understand the full picture. This is not financial advice. Please do your own research before making any decision. Let's start by examining what's been happening throughout the crypto market. When you zoom out and look across major assets, sentiment has clearly been shifting upward again. Over the last several days, we've seen the market regain a bullish tone. Despite a brief and relatively mild pullback on Saturday, the bigger time frame still shows upward momentum. On the weekly chart, the trend becomes even more obvious. Prices overall have been leaning higher, even if there are intraday fluctuations. But when we narrow down to Monad, the story gets more nuanced. Monad has taken a noticeable hit lately. The token has dropped roughly 25% against the US dollar and nearly the same percentage against Bitcoin. Its fully diluted valuation sits around $312 million, while the 24-hour trading volume is about $450 million. Right now, the token trades near 2.86 cents, which is a significant decline from its recent high around the 5-cent mark. This sudden correction caught many holders off guard and raised questions throughout the community. People are wondering what exactly is causing this drop, whether it's short-term noise or something deeper. One major topic that has fueled discussion is Arthur Hayes' public statement. In a recent interview, he suggested that Monad may not be able to compete with Ethereum in the long run. This sparked debate across social platforms, with many questioning his stance and others agreeing with his perspective. But truthfully, what he said shouldn't surprise anyone who understands the scale of Ethereum's ecosystem. You simply can't place a brand new blockchain, one whose mainnet literally launched last week, side by side with giants like Ethereum or even Solana. Those networks have years of development, massive communities, and deep liquidity behind them. Monad is in its infancy. Over time, if Monad continues attracting developers, grows its TVL, expands its on-chain metrics, and shows consistency, then deeper comparisons might make sense. But right now, it's just too early. This is what a lot of people seem to forget. The mainnet is extremely new, and early-stage volatility is expected. Yet something interesting is happening beneath the surface. Even though Monad's token price has been declining, its TVL, total value locked, continues rising. This metric reflects how much capital is being deposited in Monad's ecosystem. Whether it's liquidity provision, staking, or depositing assets into DeFi protocols, it all contributes to TVL. That means real users are still interacting with the chain despite the token pullback. When the native token drops sharply but TVL climbs, it reveals that early liquidity and user interest haven't disappeared. In fact, it suggests people are experimenting more with the chain, even as speculative hype cools. Some of this increased activity may be connected to a surge in meme coin attention on Monad. Although buying and selling meme coins doesn't directly increase TVL, providing liquidity for these coins or participating in yield farming programs can boost TVL numbers. There's also speculation about potential airdrops related to protocols building on Monad, which often pulls in liquidity seekers. So although Monad's price chart looks weak right now, the underlying ecosystem metrics don't tell the same story. TVL pushing to new highs while price drops is something worth paying close attention to. Now, let's discuss price levels and technical behavior. Bitcoin dominance is sitting around 59.4%, and Bitcoin itself is holding strong. It briefly retested the 0.50 fib zone before facing resistance, yet the price has managed to remain stable above $90,000. Even through the weekend when CME futures close and manipulation tends to increase. The fact that Bitcoin didn't break down is encouraging, and if early December pushes Bitcoin back into the 0.50 fib zone or higher, the entire market could benefit. Naturally, lower cap tokens like Monad would see larger percentage swings. Looking at Monad's chart specifically, the drop has been steep. Since November 27th, the token has fallen around 37%, and from the all-time high, the retracement is nearly 47%. This is a sharp correction, almost giving back the entire rally that took the token from roughly 2 cents up to 5 cents, a move that represented a 138% surge. The problem with brand new tokens is that there's limited historical data. When a launch triggers a strong rally, it's usually followed by heavy selling once early buyers take profits. If leverage enters the market too quickly, makers often exploit it, flushing out weak longs. We've seen similar patterns in other recently launched tokens, such as Plasma and Aster. Early hype pushes the price up, but eventually the asset needs to establish a true support zone. Monad tried forming a base around the 4-cent level, but once that support broke, the cascade lower became almost unavoidable. The price dropped to around 2.50 cents before rebounding slightly. Now, the immediate resistance sits around 3 cents, an area that acted as support earlier in November. If Monad can convincingly break past this 3-cent zone, the next target is around 3.30 cents, and then potentially another attempt at the 4-cent region. From here, a rebound to those levels would represent a roughly 40% upside. But it's important to remember, new projects experience bigger swings. Volatility is part of the game. One of the biggest concerns with Monad is its tokenomics. They simply are not impressive. The emission schedule and long-term unlocks aren't particularly attractive. The positive side, however, is that there are no major unlock events for the next year. That gives Monad time. Time for the market to potentially turn bullish, time for the ecosystem to grow, and time for liquidity to deepen. If the broader crypto market enters a strong uptrend, projects with hype often capture disproportionate attention. Monad could be one of them, especially since many investors will be looking for tokens with no looming unlock pressure. This doesn't guarantee success, but it does position Monad favorably compared to some other newly launched assets. Still, beyond 2026, things could shift dramatically. Large unlocks are scheduled for that period, which could introduce heavy selling pressure. If many tokens suddenly enter circulation, early holders or insiders might take profits, causing significant downside. That's why having a risk strategy matters, especially for long-term holders. Taking everything into account, here's the personal viewpoint. Monad still has room to rebound. Rising TVL and continuing ecosystem engagement are encouraging signs. The current valuation of roughly $312 million is relatively modest for a project that generated huge anticipation before launch. If Monad can sustain growth, and if the wider market recovers, we may see a return to higher price zones. However, none of this replaces doing your own research. You must understand the risks, especially with early-stage tokens. Volatility will be extreme. Tokenomics are not ideal, and speculation can shift quickly. For now, the key level to watch is the 3-cent resistance. A breakout above it could send Monad toward 3.5 cents or even back toward 4 cents in a favorable market. But always proceed strategically and stay informed. To wrap everything up, the overall crypto market has been shifting back into bullish territory, and Bitcoin's stability has helped strengthen market sentiment. Monad, on the other hand, has seen a major price correction, dropping nearly half from its highs. Despite this, the ecosystem shows early signs of growth, with TVL climbing steadily even as the token's value falls. Arthur Hayes' comments sparked discussion, but they shouldn't overshadow the bigger picture. Monad is extremely new, and comparing it to established blockchains is premature. The short-term outlook depends largely on whether Monad can reclaim important resistance levels. Long-term risks include its weaker tokenomics and major unlocks coming in 2026. Still, the absence of unlocks in the next year, combined with active liquidity and rising TVL, suggests potential for a rebound if broader market conditions improve. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe for more daily crypto insights. Catch you in the next one. Stay crypto smart.